So the topic for tonight's practice, guided meditation, which, as you know, is about 30 minutes or so. We've been exploring the past few sessions, we've been exploring the relationship between metta, loving kindness, goodwill, friendliness. There's so many different ways to translate it, and so many different nuances in the word metta, goodwill, care. We've been exploring the relationship between metta and what's called the 10 paramis, the 10 perfections, the 10 beautiful qualities of the heart and mind, one of the teachings of the Buddha. And for tonight's exploration, I wanted to invite us to explore the relationship between metta, kindness, and satya, truthfulness, honesty, how they relate to each other, and how one is the basis for the other. Actually, they can both be bases for each other. So in the guided meditation tonight, I'll invite us to explore a little bit. All of these invitations have been explorations to see what we discover. I'm discovering with you too. It's a new series created right here, right now, in our co-created field across the world, across time zones. So the with satya, in Pali, SACCA, the anglicized writing of it, satya, truthfulness, honesty. When we cultivate, when we have a sense of goodwill and care, either for ourselves or someone else, there is a sense of honesty and truthfulness. It's a part of it. And many of you might have experienced, so I'll share from my own experience. Sometimes, say if I'm sitting and cultivating metta for someone I care about, and if there is something unresolved in that relationship, in the process of metta, it can come up in a way of honesty, like, oh yeah, this thing is still unresolved in my heart. And metta brings up a sense of absolute honesty and truthfulness, so that these little things will get resolved, will get worked through with metta. The salve of metta would be perhaps a salve of forgiveness perhaps will come, and there will be more truthfulness. There will be sense of truthfulness, because you can't fake kindness. True kindness, you can't fake it. There can't be a lack of honesty with true kindness, with true goodwill, true metta. So we'll explore that aspect of it, and then the other way around, when you are truthful, completely truthful with yourself, or you're completely honest and truthful with someone that you care about, or even someone you don't care about, even someone whom you're having challenges with that sense of truthfulness, there is a sense of care. You're expressing a sense of care, a goodwill, a sense of love in that honesty, that you're not lying to them. So in that honesty, there is a sense of metta. There's a sense of care. You see how it's part of, it's vice versa, perhaps, intellectually a little bit. Not if, yeah, maybe it makes sense a little bit. And if not, it's okay too. We'll explore it, and maybe something else will come up for you. It's all good. So with all that, I would like to invite us into meditation now. So letting go of the words. If you need to move and shift to sit more comfortably, this is a perfect time. If you need to lie down, it's perfectly fine. Settling into your posture, settling into your body. Arriving in this body, arriving in this moment. softening and relaxing. This body. Inviting as if inviting a fresh breeze of ease into your heart, into your muscles, into your tired body, if it's tired, or however your body is in this moment. Inviting this fresh breeze of care, of ease, of relaxation. And letting the breath calm and soothe you. Letting the breath move however it wants to move through the body. Receiving the breath in the abdomen, the chest, in your sit bones, in your bottom, your legs, your feet, your arms, your hands, your face, your entire body receiving the breath. And softening and relaxing with each breath. And if you find your thoughts and memories arising right now, it's okay. It's part of this practice. The mind can be like a little puppy running after this and that. Smile at the puppy. You don't want to kick it, criticize it. It's its nature. Gently, kindly, lovingly notice what the puppy is running after this time. Say, come, sweetie, it's okay. I see. Yes, that's interesting. It's okay. We'll follow that later. Right now, let's just come. Come, sit on my lap, sit on my abdomen. Ah, well, let's sit. And receive the breath. And if you find the puppy attention wanders off again, it's okay. Gently inviting it back on your lap. Maybe stroking it with kindness. Hi, sweetie. Hi, dear. An embodiment of kindness. Perceiving the breath, sensing the movement of it in the body, letting the body get more calm, more grounded, filled with more sensation. Receiving each and every breath, just this breath. Inviting the mind to settle with the body, tilling the soil, preparing the heart, body, and mind. With some settling first before we turn our attention to Metta. And then I'd like to invite you, if you will, to bring to mind someone for whom your care, your goodwill, your affection flows with ease. Could be a friend, a benefactor, a parent, a teacher, a child, a pet. Choosing some being. Ideally someone who's alive and you have a simple, uncomplicated relationship with, not too many expectations or chores. Just to support the cultivation straightforwardly in this moment, if possible. If not, just choose whoever is presenting themselves to you. And as you bring their image to your mind's eye, really get a sense of what they look like visually, seeing them with their mannerisms, maybe moving, smiling, speaking, maybe even hear their voice, what they sound like. Maybe with some beings you can also get a sense of smell, what they smell like. You may know that for this being. What they feel like, maybe when you touch them or hug them or hold them. Using all the senses to really bring up this felt sense of this being. Whatever works for you best. Letting there be a sense of engagement. And as the image, the sense, feeling of this being, felt sense of this being comes up for you. Now notice what comes up in your body, in your heart, in your mind. Maybe a sense of safety comes. Maybe a sense of care. Maybe it shows up as gratitude or a smile on your face. Or just a sense of connection to this being. You have a connection to this being. A friendly connection to this being. Notice that, what comes up in your heart and your mind. That's metta. Doesn't have to be big, huge, thunderbolt. Just a sense of care, goodwill, friendliness. Different nuance might show up with this being. And from this sense of connection, let the phrases of metta come out of this sense of connection. You can have your own phrases, and I'll suggest the 4 traditional metta phrases. You can recite them silently, and keeping in mind, keep in your mind's eye their image, their felt sense, and the sense that comes up for you. 1 is the image, felt sense, just their being, this being. That's number 1. Number 2, the feeling that comes up for you. Number 3 is the phrases. May you be safe. May you be safe from inner and outer harm. May you be happy and joyful. May you be healthy and strong. And may your life flow with ease. May you be safe. May you be healthy. I reverse the order. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you have ease. Keeping their image up. The felt sense of this connection and letting the phrases flow out of the connection. Practicing, exploring on your own for a few minutes. It's cultivating a sense of goodwill without attachment to outcome. And now I would like to invite you to see yourself from this being's perspective, how they see you, how they appreciate you, have care for you, feel connected to you. And imagining them sending you metta, saying the phrases of metta for you. Imagining them from their perspective looking at you saying, may you be safe. And you receiving, may I be safe. What does it feel like to feel safe? May I feel safe. Receiving it in your body, in every cell. May I feel safe. And then seeing them offering metta, second phrase of metta. May you be happy. They look at you and they wish you happiness. May you be happy. And now receiving that from your own perspective. May I feel happy. May I enjoy happiness in my heart. Receiving that in your body. Letting that wash over you. May I be happy. Maybe even practicing with putting a hand on your heart center, receiving. May I feel happy. And the third phrase of metta, seeing them wish you, seeing them from their perspective. May you be healthy. They look at you and they want you to be healthy. Receiving that. May I be healthy, just as this being wishes me well. I wish myself well. May I be healthy. May this body be well. I wish myself well. Letting that land on your bones. And seeing them offer you the fourth phrase of metta. They look at you and they wish you ease. I wish you ease, dear one. May you have ease. Receiving that, may I have ease. May my life flow with ease. May I take care of myself with ease, happily. Let that land. I wish myself ease. May this being that's me has ease in her, his, their life. Receiving, giving yourself the phrases of metta, goodwill, friendliness. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. And may there be ease in my life, in this life I'm living. May there be ease. May I be a friend to myself. I hold myself with kindness and goodwill, with friendliness. May I care for this body, for this heart, for this mind, with goodwill, with friendliness, with love. And if you wish, you can stay with well-wishing for yourself, or turn to your dear being. Maybe hold both of you in this moment, actually. both giving and receiving, giving metta, receiving metta. A field of care, giving and receiving. And now, if you wish, you can experiment, you don't have to. Experimenting with truthfulness, with honesty, in the context of metta. What if you, in this moment, in this image, in this vision, feel energetically, what would it feel like if you told something untrue to this being, to this friend of yours, or whoever it is, to this being? If you were untrue in some way, if you lied in some way. See energetically how that feels with respect to the goodwill that you have for them and for yourself. Is it even possible in this space of goodwill to even consider saying something untrue? Maybe the mind just recoils and can't even come up with anything. It doesn't make sense to be untrue, not to be truthful in the context of metta, both to them and to yourself. It doesn't feel right. It feels like a lack of care to your own self, to your own integrity. Now experimenting with how truthfulness, when you are truthful to them, in this relationship with honesty, there's a sense of care. You're taking care of them. There's a sense of friendliness, love, care in your truthfulness, in your honesty, both for them and for yourself, maybe even foremost for yourself. You're taking care of your own heart, your own peace, your own integrity. Taking care of this being that is you by being truthful, honest, forthright. Truthfulness and as an expression of care. And for the last moment of this practice, just sitting, receiving the breath, feeling the reverberations of goodwill and care and honesty, both what the other being has for you and what you have for them and for yourself. May I be a friend to myself. May I care for myself as I care for a dear friend, a dear being. Welcome back, everyone. So, I'd love to invite you for this part to share any reflections that may have just come up in your practice. You can either type them in chat or unmute yourself. And I'd like to start by saying, and actually, I'd especially like to invite you if you haven't spoken before, to hold back, perhaps people who haven't spoken to come forward. Um, and, and I'll start by sharing one thing that I observed tonight in this exploration with satcha, with truthfulness, honesty, and metta is when I was inviting you energetically to feel in this field of metta. What if you said something untrue, you were untruthful? I realized I couldn't imagine, it wasn't possible in the field of metta. Field of truth, field of metta is at odds with untruthfulness. It just didn't work. And then with the invitation of being honest and truthful, there's a sense of ease, there's a sense of flow. It does feel like caring for others, and especially feels most profoundly as if I'm caring for myself when I'm truthful. It is said, one of the teachings is the bliss of blamelessness. Bliss of blamelessness is the sense of when you've been truthful, when you have lived according to your values. There's a sense of ease, happiness, joy. You sleep, you put your head on the pillow with ease. There's no sense of worry, and this agitation of lack of honesty, truthfulness, etc. So it's an interesting discovery. So I'd like to invite you. What came up for you? What did you discover? If you'd like to share. Or maybe it's just a word or a phrase you like to type in chat. That's fine too. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Vicky. Yeah. Is there anything, any of you want to unmute yourself? It feels so rich what you're typing in the chat. So if anybody wants to unmute, please go.
I typed that I find myself sharing, telling a lot of white lies these days when I talk to, let's say, my parents who are overseas, and other people I care about. Even if I have bad days, I don't want them to worry about me. So when they ask how I'm doing, I'm always chipper. Whether that is the truth or not.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. I wonder, here's an invitation. It sounds like the white lies, as you're saying, is intended to take care of them, so they don't worry about you. And the fear that they would worry. So I wonder, this is an invitation. You know your parents, your loved ones far better than I do. And here's an invitation to consider, perhaps, to have a sense of, maybe now and then, a sense of trust in their autonomy, that maybe instead of you taking care of them, allowing them in a way to share what's coming up for you, and allowing that sense of care, that connection to increase, because the white lies can feel like you're protecting them, protecting yourself, and there's a sense of distance, which is, in this time of COVID-19, may not be the direction your heart really wants to go. You want to have more connection with them. So even if they worry about you, it's their prerogative, right? But maybe they'll feel closer to you. You'll feel closer to them, having shared. Again, it's an invitation. You know yourself and your family much better than I do, but I do wonder if it might be worth an experiment to see what happens. How does that sound? How does that land, I wonder? Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, for bringing that in. Yeah.
I have a share if you guys don't mind.
Sure, please.
So I'm reading this book right now called Why Buddhism is True, and it's about evolutionary psychology and how what it basically has to say about some of the psychological ideas in Buddhism, such as the idea of the self and stuff like that. And I was reading about this term yesterday called benefactance or benefactance, which is,
Benefactor, yeah.
yeah, it's the, benefactance is this coin term in which um, the idea is that people in our evolutionary history, nature selected out people that had a tendency to proclaim themselves as more effective than they might actually be, and being able to provide more benefit to their social circles than they might actually be able to. And when you were saying earlier, to be essentially to just you know see what I was thinking as thoughts popped up as just being my mind's nature and not to approach it more or less aggressively. I resonated with that because I see it as that is a natural thing that I think I do quite often is to make those sorts of proclamations. But the other thing I wanted to add along with that, though, is no matter what, I still get a tightness in my chest as if I'm telling a lie. Like, even if I am announcing a positive aspect of myself, I might be doing that more to create an impression on others around me that might not be a totally accurate view of who I am. So just both of those things came in at once, the idea of being gentle with myself and just reminding myself this is my mind's nature. I'm no different than other humans who evolved to do the same thing, but then also really feeling what my body feels like and recognizing, you know what, though, it does, I still do get that tightness. So I might want to try to level the playing field a little bit more if I'm making impressions on people. So that was just my thought.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing those reflections that came up for you. Lovely. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah. So let's save some time for the end after the practice, the group practice discussion, so that we have some time at the end for reflections too. So in this part of happy hour, part that many of you love and specifically join, so is a part of practicing in community. And given that our group is international, it's just so lovely to have just a few minutes of practice in this way. So the invitation is not to think, oh, okay, now I'm going to put my public face on and I'm going to interact with people. No, 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 no. That's not the idea. The invitation is the same energy of care, of softness, as if your eyes were closed in meditation, in private, in silent meditation, the same energy, same quiet energy that everyone has been sharing, entering the space, the sacred space of being together, all these angels that now are having this physical experience of being human. You're engaging with these angels with honesty, with them, with yourself, with a sense of care with yourself and for them, just for a few minutes. It's just for 6 minutes. And the prompt is, how was the practice for you? There's no right or wrong. You can say, I fell asleep, I didn't like it, my mind was all over the place, I loved it. It doesn't matter. It's how you relate to yourself, to your dear self, and to others as you share with honesty, with care, and how you feel being held, not having to impress anyone. Nobody's here to impress anybody, especially when the topic is honesty, right? Just so play around in that field. See what it's like when nobody's judging you, what you're going to say. It doesn't matter. I fell asleep. I didn't hear a word she said. I don't know. What was the topic tonight? It doesn't matter. See how you're holding yourself with care and honesty and others. Just sense of freedom. Like, what is it to to be in the world in that way for a few minutes, okay? So I'd like to invite you to practice in that way in groups of 3. I'm going to create the groups now. And if it's not right for you, it's perfectly fine to bow out now, but I hope you give it a try. Just see what it's like. So I'm going to create the breakout rooms now. And here we go. All right, everyone is back. Welcome back. So we have a few minutes. I'd love to hear any reflections you had. Yeah, please.
So one of the things we talked about in our group was how we were able to combine, you know, metta to or for another person to make things easier, right? You know, you had mentioned, you know, think of how they would think of you to give yourself metta. There was discussion about using the word we to sort of, you know, create a metta blizzard, if you will. Joe mentioned that he uses it when thinking of a difficult person, to help break down the you versus me sort of thing. It was a very interesting conversation.
Lovely. Delighted to hear that. This is great. Yeah, and I'm appreciating the conversation, also the sense of we and this, the giving and receiving and point and also using language to actually support the lack of differentiation, because actually something that happens in the practice of metta in the classical teachings is that it's called the breaking down of the boundaries, where at some point when one practices this very intensely, these practices, really the difference between you and others just goes away. And there's this classical question, which is, after someone has practiced intensely for a long time, the final quiz is, if the bandits came and wanted to choose either you or your benefactor, your neutral person or your enemy, your challenging person, whom would you offer up to be killed? And after practicing intensely, one will not be able to tell. When I heard that years ago, I'll just share with you, I heard this teaching, I thought, really, come on, I mean, how possible can this be? To say, of course, the person you're having challenge with seems, and then practiced intensely this metta for a long time on retreat, and then at the end, I posed this challenge to myself, and my heart could not choose one person to be offered up to bandits. So this is pretty. It's a pretty wild practice that causes that, and I'm appreciating what you guys shared in the practice to actually use language to bring that about, with using we and the blizzard. Whatever works. This is a cultivation practice. It's a creativity practice. Whatever works. So thank you for that, Neil. Really appreciate you bringing that in. Ollie says you can't see me anymore. I just got a message that my internet is unstable. So it could very well be that my image has paused, as long as you can still hear me. Yes. Nod if you can still hear me. Yes, good. Okay. We have another couple of minutes, so let's just go for this. Great. Anybody else wants to share any reflections?
Yeah, Nikki, if I may share something real briefly, this is Bhupal.
Sure, Bhupal. Please jump in.
Also, this is something that was said in our small group, which is like sometimes during meditation, when the person uses we, he actually sees metta, which was such a powerful statement to me. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, okay, now I can imagine that too. I can actually, have that picture in my mind, and it was easy to feel metta towards everybody.
So I think I missed the crucial part. So when you use the word we, say that part again.
Yes. When you're reciting the 4 phrases, to use we instead of
Yes.
you or may I. So that was, and also to say that was said, if like you can actually see Metta, which was very kind of all of a sudden was meaningful.
Lovely, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm loving hearing all the conversations you guys are having about the practice in these groups. I can't participate because I have to stay out and coordinate and all that, but it just bleeds my heart. It sounds so rich. Thank you, Bhupal, for bringing that in as well as Neil. Any other? Oh, I guess it's 7 o'clock. Okay, I guess no more reflections. This has been so rich. Thank you all. Thank you, we, for practicing together, for doing this work, not just for ourselves, but for all of us, for all beings everywhere. So may all beings be well. May all beings be happy, including us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank
you.
Lovely.
you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I like it. Everybody, unmute yourselves. This is so much fun. Take good care, everyone. Till next time.
You too.
Everyone.
Thank you, Nikki.
Get my juice box.
Oh, I love that, Charlie. That's great. All right, take care. Bye-bye.